Is the war in Ukraine about to end? At least 8 Republicans are fine with how things are going on the American border. And what if I handed you a check for $77 million just to sit at home and do nothing? Would you like that? Stay tuned, everybody. For the best meat you have ever eaten in your life, go to samsbutchershop.com. Enter the coupon code Triple T when you check out for a 10% discount. And a happy Tuesday to you all. I am trailertrashtim. How's your mama and them? Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm glad you are here. A lot going on, so let's get going. There is apparently something happening with regard to the war in Ukraine. NBC News, of all outlets, has reported that the United States, behind the scenes, let me find this story. Behind the scenes, are beginning to talk about a negotiation to the end of the war with the Ukrainian government. The U.S. and European officials have begun quietly talking to the Ukrainian government about what possible peace negotiations with Russia might entail to end the war, according to one senior U.S. official and a former senior U.S. official familiar with the discussion. This is on the NBC website. The conversations have included very broad outlines of what Ukraine might need to give up to reach a deal, the official said. Now, what's the upshot of all this? As I've maintained on this channel, and it's not just me, people who actually are experts on this issue of the Ukrainian war all understand that this is a losing war with regard to Ukraine. They are not going to win this war. Russia is going to prevail. And it's as simple as that. And we have simply gotten into bed with the wrong side here in the United States. But there are people, even within the Biden administration, who are seeing the writing on the wall, and they understand what I just said, that this is a losing effort. Ukraine is not going to prevail. It is simply a big, fat money pit. We're wasting money. We're wasting resources. We're wasting equipment and personnel who are there in Ukraine, all for a losing effort. Of course, as I have maintained, Ukraine is a cesspool. It is at least one of the most corrupt nations on earth. They have a relatively small population. They are dwarfed in terms of population by Russia. I think their population is like 16 million. I mean, just when you look at the numbers of population, there's no way they can sustain themselves. Russia is going to prevail in this war, and the only card left on the table, it seems to me, for Ukraine is to go ahead and negotiate an end to this conflict. Now, what a waste this has been, folks. Ever since this thing started, I've detailed on this channel the reasons that Russia went into Ukraine in the first place. I have detailed on this channel the reason that Putin did what he has done. It is to cleanse Ukraine of these. It's as simple as that. And also, there were a lot of Russian there were a lot of Russian citizens in the Donbass region and the Donetsk region of Ukraine, and they were in peril. They were being slaughtered by these people I just told you about in Ukraine. And so Putin did what he had to do, what he should have done. And, it's just been an absolute losing effort for Ukraine. So many people have died needlessly. This is such a corrupt government that America has gone to bed with. This is a man, Zelensky, this puppet, the puppet in cargo pants, who apparently doesn't own a necktie, by the way. This is a man who jails Christian clerics. He shuts down churches. He jails his opposition. He cancels elections. He cancels the press. He is exactly what I just showed you. He is the epitome of it. This is not a burgeoning democracy, and the only thing left for Ukraine to do to save face is to negotiate an end to this war with Russia. Russia holds all the cards, And America knows that. The Biden administration knows that. This thing needs to come to an end right now. The sooner the better. We could save a whole lot of lives and really a whole lot of money if we would just bow out and let this thing end. That's exactly what needs to happen. All right. Last night, today is Tuesday, last night, I believe it was last night in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a representative from my beloved home state of Georgia. And Marjorie Taylor Greene had proffered a resolution in Congress to impeach Secretary of the Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. Maybe you've seen this guy on television. He's somewhere beyond incompetent. This is a man who just simply cannot answer a question with a straight face with regard to illegal immigration. He is a tool. He is a shill of the Biden administration. He turns his back as illegal aliens continue to stream by the thousands on a daily basis across the southern border. He is absolutely ill-fitted for this job. And Marjorie Taylor Greene finally said, enough is enough. We've got to get rid of him. And she floated articles of impeachment to get rid of Mayorkas. So her resolution, however, failed. Let me see if you can tell me what these following people have in common. These are 8 people from the House of Representatives. Patrick McHenry of North Carolina. Does that name ring a bell? Tom McClintock of California. Virginia Fox of North Carolina. Derail Issa of California. Cliff Bentz of Oregon. Ken Buck of Colorado. What a waste. Mike Turner of Ohio, and John Duarte of California. These are 8 Republicans who all have one thing in common. They sided with the Democrats to reject the articles of impeachment and keep Mayorkas in office, which begs the question, whose side are you on? Patrick McHenry was the guy who took the speaker's chair in the pro tempore position after McCarthy got axed. But these people, these good old Republicans, opposed Marjorie Taylor Greene's resolution to impeach Mayorkas. This is outrageous. These people need to be primaried badly, and they need to be removed from Congress. They are siding with the Democrats, so with enemies like this, or friends like this, who needs enemies, right? All right, I want to get back to something I talked about yesterday, which was the prospect of Tucker Carlson being Donald Trump's selection to be vice president. It would be a Trump Carlson ticket for 24. And some of you have responded to me and said that you would prefer that Trump select Vivek as his vice presidential candidate. There's some appeal for that as well. But consider the possibilities should Trump select Tucker Carlson. You may know of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's a pretty good guy, and he is active on X. If you're on X, look him up. He's worth following. But Charlie Kirk, a journalist, tweeted this yesterday, I believe it is. He says this: another reason Trump should consider Tucker for vice president, he blunts the RFK Jr. threat. That's worth considering. Times Siena had Trump up on Biden in 5 of 6 swing states and winning the 2024 election. Add RFK to the mix, Trump only leads 2 of 5 of these states, and there's no clear winner. Tucker on the ticket will shore up support with many vaccine skeptic centrist voters and independents who RFK appeals to. Tucker slammed mandates and lockdowns and has massive crossover appeal to RFK's core demo. Remember when Tucker was still on Fox, he wasn't just popular with conservatives. Among young viewers, he was the most popular news show for Democrats. So Charlie Kirk is basically saying there's a lot of strategic value in putting Tucker on the ticket with Trump because he kind of negates the influence of RFK in this election. He kind of negates that, right? A lot of people that might vote for Robert F. Kennedy may put the brakes on that support if Tucker is in the mix, and they might be more inclined to support Tucker. Now, for me, RFK, he's just, when you blow away the smoke and you look at the thing clearly, you understand that RFK is he's a Kennedy. He is a left-wing liberal Democrat who basically he's probably more of a classic Democrat. He's not like one of the modern-day Democrats who have completely lost their mind. He's an old-school, leftist Democrat, much like his Uncle Ted. But the appeal for RFK, at least for me, was he was right on the COVID. He was right on the VACCINESs, okay? He was saying the right things on that. So there was a lot of appeal with regard to Kennedy because of that. He called out Big Pharma, and he was right to do so. But when you get past that issue, he's just a Democrat, folks. He's just a big government guy, and you wouldn't get a lot of the kind of change that we need with him as president. We need less government. Yesterday I was talking about how Vivek was talking about firing half of the bureaucracy in Washington, which really made me warm up to Vivek. You'd never see that with a guy like Bobby Kennedy. You're just going to get big government with him, bigger government with him. Just because he was right on one issue doesn't negate the fact that he's wrong on so many others. So if putting Tucker on the ticket would blunt RFK, then Trump might be wise to think long and hard about putting Trump on the ticket. By the way, somebody was saying to me in the comments yesterday, we don't need just to fire half the bureaucracy. We need to eliminate entire federal departments, to which I can only say amen. I have advocated for years that we need to eliminate the Department of Education, which Reagan vowed to do, and he didn't do it. It's simply a bureaucracy we do not need. Education should be on a local level. If you want to help kids get smarter, then eliminate the Federal Department of Education. That'll help right there. You can eliminate HHS. You can eliminate commerce. You can eliminate so many things in Washington, and especially you could eliminate the Federal freaking Reserve. Can I get an amen for that? That's echoes of Ron Paul right there, but we don't need to audit the Fed. I mean, in the interim, that would be fine. We need to end the Fed. We don't need a Federal Reserve. We need honest money, and all we get with the Federal Reserve is IOUs and fiat currency, which isn't money at all. All right, I don't know why I went there, but it's true. We need to end the Fed. So that is Charlie Kirk weighing in. I covered Ukraine, and of course we've got Israel. Now, a lot of what's happening, do you mind if I get a sip of coffee real quick? Are you having your coffee with me this morning? By the way, oh, that's good. That is French roast. I've tried a different coffee. It's bold. It's really good, though. I got it from Costco. It's pretty good. What was I about to say? Oh, it took yesterday's video got up pretty late in the afternoon. I shot the video mid-morning. I don't know what my problem was yesterday, but my uploads were dreadfully slow yesterday. I could not get that thing uploaded to save my life, so thank you for being patient. It finally got up. Hopefully today it won't be the same way. I got good Wi-Fi, good cell, but it just took forever yesterday to get. I finally re-uploaded it again, and the second attempt was a little bit faster. But thank you for being patient with me. Hopefully we'll have better luck today. But I was about to say that we're it's kind of a tough scenario, because we do need to get away from the hopeless and futile Ukraine situation. A lot of the attention in the Biden government has been taken off of Ukraine of necessity, because they want to put more attention on Israel, of course. Israel, who continues to absolutely reduce Gaza to rubble. They continue to drop bombs on churches. They continue to perform unspeakable atrocities against the Gazan people. And we continue to have people in the United States who are so misled when it comes to the nation of, or the state of Israel, as if it's some special state that we need to support. This is completely foolish and ill-advised. And it occurs to me, I follow a lot of people who are all in for Israel on X, for example. I follow Laura Loomer. She toes the line. She's wrong about this. Mark Gruber is wrong about this. And I have noticed a common thread among these people. They're all in for Israel, but they never address the atrocities committed by Israel upon the Palestinians, which are very real. They never address this. They never address the things Israel has done to the innocent Palestinian people and the people in Gaza. They never talk about that. That's interesting to me, that you're not being objective about this thing at all. And in America, you've got two groups, basically, that are all in for Israel. One, of course, would be Jewish Americans who would support the Jewish state. I can understand that. And, of course, then you've got the other group, which support Israel because of religious reason. I'm talking about evangelical fundamentalists. And I've addressed this before. I don't want to dwell on it, but you just need to understand once and for all, folks. So bear with me while I take this side road. You may have no interest in this whatsoever, but this is a vital component when it comes to the question of the misguided support of the God-forsaken state of Israel, literally God-forsaken state of Israel. So many evangelicals still clutch to the misguided notion that the Jews are God's special people on earth and Israel is God's special nation on earth. It is absolutely, simply untrue. It has always been untrue, and there is just this Protestant, largely Protestant, evangelical, fundamentalist cult that worships Israel as if it's some golden calf. And this belief that Israel and the Jews are God's chosen people is so utterly misguided, it has never been taught in the Christian faith, the Christian religion. It only reared its head in the late 1800s because of a man by the name of C.I. Scofield and Darby and a few others. This was never taught. If you had told Christians prior to the early 1900s that, and of course Israel didn't exist as a state then, the notion that they would reform themselves as a state would have had no impact on Christians at that time, before 1948, before this bad doctrine reared its head. They would say, okay, so what? God's chosen people are those, in terms of Christianity, the proper Christian doctrine regarding God's chosen people is that the Israel of God are Christians, not Jews. Because it's the Jews, of course, that killed the very Savior that these evangelicals claim to worship. Do you not understand, my dearly beloved evangelicals, that when you hold the Jewish people in such high esteem, these are the very people who killed the Savior you claim to worship? How schizophrenic is this? Oh, folks, come on, get a hold of yourself. St. Peter writes in his epistle, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation." He ain't talking about Israel, beloved. He's talking about Christians. It isn't Israel that is God's chosen people. It isn't Israel that is God's chosen nation. It's Christians. This physical location, this godless state of Israel, is not somehow God's chosen nation that was reformed in 1948 as a fulfillment of prophecy. It is nonsense. It has never been taught in the history of Christianity. And I don't care, you can go online and you can find people that will tell you otherwise, but they can't support it with fundamental Christian doctrine from history. It can't be supported. The fathers of the church never taught it. Nobody in Christendom ever taught this nonsense until the late 1800s. Now, if that doesn't tell you something, then I don't know what else I can say to you. I don't know why I got sidetracked on that, but I think it just needed to be said because I have had it up to here with Christians who fly Israeli flags as if that's God's chosen nation. It's nonsense. You can't defend it. You can't defend it. If you think you can, then do it. Bring it on. Bring it on in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. Let's see it. All right, let's move on. I'm all over the board, right? Hey, what if I gave you a check for $77 million and I said, take your check for $77 million and go play golf or go fishing or go do whatever you want to do? Would you take that deal? How about a little sports on the Triple T channel? There is or was a coach at Texas A&M University by the name of Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher was hired by Texas A&M from Florida State University to be their new football coach 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was, and they gave him a rich contract that paid him around $10 million a year. And a few years into that contract, they extended it. They said, let's keep this going, and they gave him even more. This man was making in excess of $10 million a year, and his contract, I think at the time, was for over $100 million. I think it was for like 10 years and $100 million. Well, old Jimbo didn't do so well at Texas A&M as far as the product he put on the field because the Aggies were playing about .500 ball. Their records were like 7-4, 8-5, records like that. They were wanting to contend for a national title, but they weren't getting anywhere close to it. So they have in college sports these things called buyouts. If you decide to fire somebody, which they did, they got to pay you the rest of your contract. Well, they still owe Jimbo in excess of $76 million, almost $77 million. And they decided we just can't put up with this anymore. We got to get a coach in here that can give us a winning football team. So they fired him, and they owe him $77 million. Within 30 days, they've got to give him $19 million, and then for the next several years, I think 10 years, they got to give him over $7 million a year, or something like that for the duration of the contract. It might be 5 or 6 years. Not a bad deal, right? Hey, you could fire me all day long if you owed me $70 million. You could fire me with relish, and I'd shake your hand, be no hard feelings. I'd still send you a Christmas card. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it, huh? All right, let me get to my last story. This one cracks me up. We have above us right now in outer space, there's 2 NASA astronauts who are manning the ISS, the International Space Station. And these 2 astronauts are women. And these women, let's see what their names are here. Jasmine Mogbelli and Laurel O'Hara. And listen to what happened to Jasmine and Laurel. This was on the New York Post. This morning I read it. Skywatchers and stargazers might see something new among the stars, planets, and galaxies. 2 NASA astronauts, Jasmine and Laurel, were conducting the first all-female spacewalk outside the ISS on November the 2nd when a tool bag slipped, according to Space.com. Jasmine and Laurel finished their spacewalk after 6 hours and 42 minutes, NASA said. They were doing maintenance on the ISS. when they lost their tool bag. Mission Control, this is quote, Mission Control analyzed the bag's trajectory and determined that the risk of recontacting the station is low and that the onboard crew and space station are safe with no action required. The tool bag is now inadvertently lost, the space agency said on its official blog, and flight controllers were able to spot the bag using external station cameras. I'm looking at pictures of this thing. You can go to the New York Post and see it. The surprisingly bright tool bag is orbiting our planet with a visual magnitude of around 6 plus, whatever that means, according to EarthSky, meaning that while it may not be able to be seen with the naked eye, curious sky watchers can pick it up with some binoculars. It's just slightly less bright than Uranus, the seventh planet from the sun. EarthSky said that the tool bag will remain in orbit for a few months before disintegrating into the Earth's atmosphere. Preliminary estimates show the bag entering the atmosphere around March of 2024. So here's what we've got. This is stand-up comic material right here. Here's what we've got. We've got a cut. Now, you girls that are watching me right now, you're going to have to bear with me, but this is damn funny. You got to admit. We've got a couple of chick astronauts in outer space, and they take their toolkit, and they go out for a 6-hour spacewalk to do some maintenance on the ISS. I guess they're changing the oil or whatnot, whatever they're doing. Going for a spacewalk, and they're working on the International Space Station when they lose their tool bag. So what you've got are a couple of dames, sorry girls, but it's just too funny. A couple of female astronauts. Can you just see them standing outside the International Space Station? And one of them looks at the other and she says, "Jasmine, what? Have you seen my purse?" Woo! Oh my gosh, this is just hilarious to me. Now, I'm one to talk. I am notorious for losing things. I lose my keys all the time, lose my wallet all the time, lose my glasses, lose my phone. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that'll walk around the house like this, you know, with my glasses on my head. Have you seen my glasses? I can't find I'll be talking to somebody on the phone, asking them if they've seen my phone, that kind of thing. So believe me, if I was on the spacewalk, I no doubt would be doing some of the same kind of thing. But it just is hilarious that these two gals were working on the space station when one of them lost their purse or their toolkit. Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right. Hey, give me your comments down below on today's video. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Give me a thumbs up on the video if you will. Hit that big like button below. I would appreciate it. If you have not yet subscribed to the Triple T channel, you can do so right now. Hit that subscribe button down below. I'd love to have you join our growing community. Everybody go out there, have a great Wednesday. This is Trailer Trash Tim, and I will see you tomorrow.